Development of guidelines for industrial design studio culture, a shared responsibility for maximizing potential within the design studio setting. My name is Ben Bush. I'm an assistant professor of industrial design at Auburn University. As I began reading about studio culture, I came across an interesting fact that architecture, in order to receive accreditation, must have a written studio culture statement. While we share many similarities in studio structure, the ID classroom doesn't require a written statement. But I know this, each classroom already has a culture, planned or unplanned. Statements on the expectations of culture are healthy. I also believe that frequent communication of expectations is core to having a high level of achievement in the classroom. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. If you want a weak learning environment, set no standards, voice no expectations. I knew that I didn't have the answers, but I had an idea where I could find them. This is an image of the one time I talked to Andre 3000. Unfortunately, we didn't work on the research project together, but it would have been really cool if we did. So I visited opposite ends of the country. I started out in San Francisco. I worked my way over to New York and to Boston. I got to visit fantastic design firms, places of education, places of innovation, such as Playground, YouTube, Ammunition, Square, Dolby, Gum Mountain, IBM, Intercom, Whitworth Institute of Technology, Lifetime Brands, Group Hug, Mass Art, Smart Design, J. Lewis, BCG Digital Ventures, FDN Studio Lab, and Essential. Without these designers' gracious input and humble hospitality, this research project wouldn't mean much. Therefore, I am incredibly thankful to the wisdom of the brothers known as Creative Session, Aron Munn, Chrissy Livaday, Sam Carr, Cody Protzka, Adam Williams, Ben Brown, Matt Yao, Mark Perry, Matt Cormier, James Swayze, Elvin Chu, Kat Brown, James Krause, Crystal Prasad, the design patriarch Gabo, Josh Brown, Ray Barnhart, Carly Haggins, Derek Cassio, Evan Hunker, and Lars Fisher. These 23 design professionals were absolutely essential to formulating what an ideal studio culture might look like. I saw incredible, exciting, and wildly different workspaces where design professionals fused decades-old tried-and-true techniques with modern technology, approaches, design methodology, and user research, all with a similar mission to create elegant, practical solutions for everyday challenges. I was also inspired by the atmosphere of two of the most influential design hubs on the planet. You know, if you're going to be there, you best keep your eyes open. In terms of methodology, I created a card game that allowed me to customize questions around the topics of workplace culture, workplace environment, company philosophies, procedures, all on the fly. And all these findings led me to 151 pages of transcription and over 12 hours of recorded audio. All this information ended up as 418 data points, which I classified on my dining room wall. Organized, elaborated upon, expanded, synthesized, and finally drew insights from. And this is how we get standards or guidelines for the development of industrial design studio culture. First, we're going to start with students. You look at this and think, yeah, that's a lot for students to do, and I totally agree with you. Students are the raw ingredient. I think of it in terms of cooking vegetables in a kitchen. If the veggies are of high quality, then the end result will be good, regardless of the cooking spaces. Perhaps prepping them in a high-tech kitchen can be more efficient due to specialized equipment, but the end result could be just as good in an old country kitchen with a skilled chef. It's process and methodology. Every action a student engages in is a documentable experiment. Young designers will fail often. Failure is not bad. In fact, it's quite important. Fail early and fail often, and in doing so, students will develop their own design process. This design process is at the core of the designer. It is of the highest importance that each student understand, communicate verbally and visually, and reflect upon his or her own decision-making process. No matter what is being designed, remember that every design is part of a larger ecosystem. Designers organize information and work methodically. Design students should begin projects by understanding the context, ideating, creating a bunch of ideas, clustering, putting them together in a meaningful way, and prioritizing, identify what's important. Students can evaluate their concepts by using the approach like the following. Is a concept desirable? Do people want it? Is a concept feasible? Can we make it and it still be desirable? And finally, is it viable? Will it help a business succeed? Design skills. Students are to develop a command over the core ID skills and then develop specialty skills in the areas of UX, product semantics, digital fabrication. Students should strive to continually increase their measurable skills. Communicate both verbally and visually. Do this always and often. The purpose of clear, multifaceted communication is to create the opportunity for insightful feedback. A student's design process should be conveyed with clarity, conviction, and presented in an entertaining manner. Investigations, developments, and outcomes should champion a human-centered approach. Building experience. It's okay if you don't know what you want to do when you grow up, but just try things until you find something you like. Design students need to locate what makes their hearts come alive. They also need to identify what unique attributes they bring to a design team. Design students need to soak up as many experiences as possible. They need to know where certain designs come from and have an opinion on where they're going. In doing so, students will create an internal reference library. This library is required for making meaningful connections and leveraging metaphors. Design students cannot make connections on topics they've never heard of. Research. Students need to identify a way to learn the things they do not yet know. Students are to demand project constraints, and once received, they are to question and validate those constraints. Students need to understand context, learn about relevant systems, user culture, marketing trends, and product history. Students need to seek out and value the input of others, interacting with them frequently. Once relevant information is gathered, it needs to be logically synthesized into actionable insights, minimal viable products, and core guiding principles. For the young professional, design education is a challenging and rewarding endeavor. Professional design is a challenging and rewarding occupation. Young professionals will need headphones. Seriously. They allow you to work around people and still get your work done. Design students need to understand their own working style. Young professionals will need to work where and how they provide the most benefit to their team. They will also need to work when other people are working. Therefore, students should consider adopting a normal work schedule while they're still in college. The learning doesn't stop once you graduate from college. Young professionals, on average, spend the next 3 years increasing their speed and quality. The doing of design will change its pace, but don't become lazy. When designers stop learning, they become obsolete. Shared responsibilities for both professors and students. Values. All student participants are to be proactive. They are to curiously anticipate future problems, needs, or changes. Students and instructors are to be engaged, eager, and teachable. They need to be focused and forward-thinking. Students and professors are to be honest with their intent, interactions, and their anticipated outcomes. Studio participants are to craft a space where each person can express their vulnerability. Studio participants are required to have and clearly articulate their convictions. Designers must be human-centered, designing with the care and thoughtfulness for their fellow man. Expectations. All studio participants are expected to have a transparent design process. Students are to generate volumes of ideas, concepts, to maximize the amount of feedback they can gain from critique. Professors are to leverage their knowledge, experience, and network to offer actionable feedback. Studio critique is for the benefit and development of the presenter and the other designers in attendance. Those who are doing the critiquing are to evaluate the work using design vocabulary, design principles, research, and user experiences. The studio culture is a combination of both the cohort and the instructors. This combination will change every year, and both parties will need to be equally committed to the development of camaraderie and mutual trust within the studio space. Students and instructors are responsible for creating a space where all people can perform at their highest level. If a studio member cannot perform at that highest level, there is no shame in identifying another endeavor where he or she might maximize his or her potential. Studio members must choose for themselves to give their best in the pursuit of design education. There are no formulas, no shortcuts, no silver bullets. Participants will receive from this experience the amount of effort they put forth. And for the instructor, when delivering a relevant project brief, it is the role of the instructor to ensure that the constraints and space for exploration are well-defined and balanced. Within exceptionally crafted projects, instructors are to demonstrate industry-relevant skills. Instructors are to champion the values of the design studio. They need to exhibit the very values they want to develop within their students. Instructors are to communicate and maintain high standards for each design student. Instructors are to demonstrate flexibility, showing healthy practices for handling stress and managing multiple projects simultaneously. They are to be optimistic and patient. Instructors are to grant space for exploration and communicate opportunities for student development. If design is human-centered, equally the instruction of design should be human-centered. Instructors need to know the names and stories of each of their students, and in doing so, they can offer a personal approach in challenging the student to surpass their own expectations. Design is a personal act. Educators have the opportunity to play a significant role in the development, not only in the future of the design industry, but in the shaping of human beings. I can think of more of a prudent topic to research and develop upon than to ask the question, how might we maximize the human potential in a way that causes significant change in our classrooms, our profession, and ultimately, our world? And this research isn't finished yet. Now is the time for testing. These statements will be posted in my classroom for spring 2020. If you're interested in testing these expectations and improving the culture of our design studios, I would love to partner with you. Thanks for listening. And War Eagle.